Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about A Few Good Men, written by Aaron Sorkin. Now, before I go into summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. All right, so A Few Good Men, very interesting work here. A lot is happening within this work. Basically, you have Downey and Dawson. They get accused of killing Santiago. And Santiago is weak. He's a very weak individual, a very weak man. He wanted to leave the base. He wanted to, get transferred somewhere else. He didn't want to stay in Guantanamo Bay. He didn't want to stay in Cuba. They issued a code red on him, and a code red is pretty much a beating to establish discipline within a person who is, in the army and the Marines. You're supposed to be tough. You're supposed to be brave. You're supposed to be, a person of discipline. And Colonel Jessup, let's just cut to the chase. He's the one that issued the code red. The beating that Downey and Downson gave, was because of Colonel Jessup. All right, Santiago got that beating because the Colonel said so. People listen to the Colonel. He says that himself. Basically, what happens is that, Downey and Dawson, they get accused of murder because Santiago died. He wanted to leave. He couldn't leave. And this is pretty much becomes like a court case. And they bring in a lawyer by the name of Caffey and another lawyer by the name of Galloway. Caffey is the lead defender here. He's the lead defense lawyer. And pretty much he tried to get the guys a deal. Caffey's all about getting deals. He doesn't really like going to court. But he does end up going to court within this work. They try to get a couple plea deals that doesn't go through. Ultimately what happens is that Caffey in court ultimately he does get Colonel Jessup to admit that it was him that issued the code red. And throughout the work, his officers were definitely aware of what was happening, of what happened to Santiago. Markinson, he's the one that actually he left the base, he abandoned the base, he got some documents, he got a pistol, he killed himself, and he sent some documents to Caffey to show that, that Jessup was lying and everything. And so, Kendrick, Kendrick and Markinson, they all knew what was happening. They all knew what happened. They all were involved. Jessup was saying that nobody knew, but they knew. They knew. Markinson definitely felt guilty. That's why he ultimately, left the base, got the documents that could help, and ultimately killed himself. By the end of the work, Jessup is arrested. Markinson is dead. Downey and Dawson, they fought really hard. They rejected all the plea deals that would have tucked everything away and sent them to jail, to prison. And they fought, and they were, dishonorably discharged from the Marines, but at least they weren't found guilty. The work pretty much shows you the power. Well, in terms of deeper meaning and analysis, the work shows you the power of, ranking in the military, because at a point within the work, Caffey, his job, his freedom was on the line, because you don't want to bring a colonel to the stand and accuse the colonel of lying. That's a high-ranking military officer. And, Jessup was all about, discipline, respect, and, Santiago was just not cutting it. And beatings are just, they're pretty much well established that even though it's illegal and they're not supposed to do code reds, It's pretty much well established amongst the men. That's how you get other men that are weak to toughen up. And they wanted Santiago to toughen up. He didn't want to toughen up. He wanted to leave. And again, I mean, you're in the military. How could you be in the military and you be like, oh, I want to go home, I want to go home to mommy? Well, he wasn't saying exactly that, but you could imagine, a soldier saying, I don't want to be here anymore. It's too hard. I'm not making it. I don't want to be here. And so the colonel was like, well, beat him up. I mean, rough him up. Santiago ended up dead. So somebody had to pay for that death, and they were gonna put it all on Downey and Santiago, on Downey and Dawson, and they fought against it. And Caffey worked hard, even though he didn't want to. But you have to think Galloway, because Joanne Galloway, she really stepped up for the men here and really looked into it, and she's a go-getter, and thinking of the code red and everything like that, and really pushing into it. The Caffey, in the beginning, he just wanted to get a plea deal and just not go to court, but this ultimately goes to court. The plea deals don't happen, and Dawson and Downey, they get off. In terms of deeper meaning and analysis, this work is really interesting. It shows you what goes on within the military complex. It's not, ranking means a lot, and you don't disobey a high-ranking officer. You listen to them, and Jessup was just using his power. He's throwing his weight around, and this time it got him. It got him a sentence. That's just how it is. So this work very interesting, and it pretty much ends, just showing, well, Santiago, he was just in the wrong system. He was just in the wrong system, and he died because of it. And the military and this within this work was just trying to sweep everything that happened under the rug. And again, I mean, with militaries around the world, we really don't know what military personnel see, what kind of decisions they make. Probably not all of their decisions are good decisions. When you think about the title, A Few Good Men, well, I mean, there's a lot you can look at within this work, and look at the title. What are these men doing? What do they represent? I mean, they are following orders, but whose orders are they following? And if all these men are following the colonel's orders, and his orders are not good, then what are these other men? That's something to think about. So this brings up a question of ethics and morals. If a bunch of men are following the orders of one man who is not making good decisions, what does that say about the other men's character? What does that say about their decision making? Because the colonel pretty much says, "Hey, whatever I say, people do." And if what he's saying is horrible, then does he corrupt the other men? That's something to think about here. And also the fact that the colonel just tried to throw it all on Dawson, and he just tried to throw it on Dawson and Downey. What does that say about the colonel? So the people within this work, you definitely have to look at them, look at their character, and look at the word good. These characters display traits of wrong ethics, wrong morals. Ultimately, I guess you can say you get a happy ending, but Santiago is still dead. And he's dead because he just didn't fit into the look that that the military wanted. So all these men, Jessup, Markinson, Kendrick, they made some bad decisions, and they tried to hide it under the rug. That says a lot about their character. And Downey and Dawson, even though they weren't, well, they still killed a man. So whatever they did to him in the Code Red, it resulted in Santiago dying. So there's a lot to say there too. So this work is very interesting, but that's pretty much what happens within it. The title can be looked at in many different ways. In the analysis here, it says a lot about the men's characters, their ethics, their morals, and their decision making process. I mean, there is an idea about honor and what it means to be a soldier, because being a soldier, there's a lot of honor and respect. There's a lot of questions around that. What is honor? Is honor just blindly following your leader? Is honor just toughening up and you know doing things that you don't want to do even because you're in the system? So this novel does raise up questions around honor, around respect, around following orders, and what does that mean about how does that apply to your morality, your ethics, your character? So all that are ideas that are brought forward within this work. So that's all I had to say about this. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.